The first thing to recognise is that EdTech is dynamic and contextual. I first worked 30 years ago in the ICT world in London in the early 90s, and certainly a lot of the technology, the computer systems that we're using there now is completely obsolete. So the tools, the purveyors, the vendors that you see on these advertising slogans behind me, this will not stay still. It moves at a tremendous and accelerating pace. EdTech is not just the devices, the hardware, the ICT connectivity. It has to enable teaching and learning. And I'll say a lot more about that point in a moment. Inequalities must be considered, accounted for, and not exacerbated. That means don't make things worse. A lot of the devices that we have today, or the tools, are not accessible to the vast majority of Nigerians for a whole host of reasons. And EdTech is not a silver bullet to solving all of our problems, whether it be society at large or within education and helping children to access education. Noting that in the continent at large, but also in Nigeria, there are many children who either have an inadequate schooling or access no schooling whatsoever. Next slide, please. So I think it's important that we think about a systems approach to EdTech. Right at the bullseye of the circle that you can see up there is learning, and we make no apology for that. If we have introduced a lot of technology, and at the end, children are not learning their basics, their numeracy, their literacy, the wider set of skills that they need to survive in the 21st century, then our technology is not being effective. But you see all these stakeholders that interact to support boys and girls in their learning. It requires, so we need to think about how EdTech interacts with all of these different stakeholders. With teachers, how do we give teachers not just the devices, but the skills, the pedagogy to use them so they can support children directly? How do we support parents and communities by giving them the appropriate information, accountability to make the